Hi, it's Lakota here with Blender Banter. Today I'm making a shake for Lowri. She's my friend from circus. I've known her for a really long time. This girl is like a proper athlete. She just ran the London Marathon. So today I'm gonna make her a shake. She also just happens to be vegan. So I've got some vegan protein powder here. And I think that she might just be coming off of a run. So I'm gonna put in some electrolytes. And I thought I'd put some blueberries in just for some sparkling skin. I know some people don't really like banana, so I'm just gonna put a small piece of this in there for potassium. And because she runs so much, it's really important to get your carbohydrates in. Just to replenish yourself. I'm putting a bit of chia seed in there just to make it look a little pretty. Remember, always soak your chia seeds in water. And let's put a little bit more water in there. What I might do actually is put in a little tiny bit of oats just because I want to help just replenish anything that she's lost on this on these runs that she does. Okay. Block your ears. That smells amazing. Okay, I think she's coming now. Hi.
Thank you.
How are you? Cheers.
Cheers.
So you just finished the London Marathon. Tell me everything. I want to know everything.
Where do I start?
Oh my God, where do you start? Start from how you even got into running in the first place. You're like the fittest person I know.
So I got into running when we knew each other. It's about 10 years ago. So I got into it very sporadically. A friend of mine who's a very good runner, much better than me, she asked me to go and do the Marrakesh Marathon with her.
Okay.
I'd never run before. I'd never run more than a mile in my life.
Okay.
And I was like, whatever, I'm going to do this
The
marathon.
first thing you did was a marathon.
Yeah.
Full marathon?
Yeah, full marathon.
How many miles is that?
26.2 miles, 42 kilometers. I was dying. It was the worst.
Did you train?
No.
No?
Yeah, because when you're young, I think you can just do anything. So I was like, whatever, I can run a marathon. It was the hardest. It's the hardest marathon I've ever run.
Okay.
And it was like 6 hours.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I got the bug from that because I think the thing I like about running is the mental part of it. Like you have to be so mentally strong. Like that race, I got through on the power of my mind. My body had given up. And I think that gave me a lot of confidence.
What do you think about?
Like just not giving up. In that one, it was just like, just keep going, just keep going. And I just really proved to myself that I could, if I put my mind to something, I can do it. And then I started enjoying running. Then I really did start like training and running a lot. And yeah, now when I'm running long distance, I even disconnect from my mind sometimes.
Oh my God. So it's been like 10 years. Yeah, because you were already into running when I like first met you. So like, what do you eat? How do you keep yourself
a lot of carbs.
Sustainable. How do you sustain yourself on those huge runs? Lots of carbs.
So, for instance, the London Marathon, which I've just finished. So I trained for that. That's the first marathon I've ever trained for. In my third marathon.
Okay, what is training like? What does that look like?
So I did a 16-week block of training, and it was 4 runs a week, and then they progressively got longer and faster over like the duration of the 16 weeks. There was like a deload week in the middle, but it's progressive overload.
And you were training
basically
here in India as well. It was so hot.
Yeah.
Like how
32
how did
degrees.
you survive?
I actually don't know. I was ill. Well, I was ill all the time.
Oh.
I was so dehydrated. I was drinking so much water. I was having electrolytes. And for the longer runs, I was eating a lot of carbs. I was even eating on my runs. Like I had bars like when I was running.
Do you ever get cramps?
No, never.
Never?
Yeah, people
never
do.
happened once?
No, never.
Really?
Yeah, so I wonder why.
Yeah. I get, like, it's the minute I start running, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, no, people do. And people also get it from eating.
Yeah, that's
And
what I thought it was
gels,
related to.
yeah.
Or like even like drinking or just having something in your stomach. But
Yeah, like water
maybe it's
even
not.
sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, so like you gave me that book on, what was it called? Run.
Born to Run?
Born to Run, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been a runner in my head like ever since then, but it's never materialized. I've done like a 10K, but that's about it. My body gets so like weary. My bones are hurting, everything's hurting just to finish like that last 1 kilometer, not mile.
But 10,
But I'm a
10K is
runner in my
impressive.
brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm still trying to get you to run with me.
I
though,
want to
for
run
real.
with you. We're just trying to like find the time.
Yeah.
So how was the actual like this marathon?
It was so much
Were
fun.
you nervous?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I was really nervous because it'd been 7 years since I'd done a marathon. So I'd forgotten all of the pain.
Yeah.
And just the mental torment. But I didn't go through that at all. Like, this marathon was purely fun. Like, I enjoyed the whole run. I was really consistent with my pace the whole way through, and that's obviously down to actually training for the marathon. And the London Marathon is the best marathon in the world. It's the most fun. Like, people are out on the streets screaming for you. And yeah, I just felt like powerful.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
You look powerful. Like, you're like, girl. What do you listen to? Like, do you have like I don't know. How do you keep yourself like motivated when you reach like hour 1, hour 2?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it differs if I'm training or if I'm actually racing. So in the marathon, I had no music the whole way around just because everyone is there like cheering. You want to be in the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
When I'm training, it really depends on my mental state, to be honest. Like, if I'm in a really good state, if I'm really excited for the run, if I'm happy, I often don't listen to anything. But I put music on if it gets hard or if I start out in a bad headspace. And my playlist really, really varies. So it affects your pace as well. Like, often if I'm doing a long run and I really start to feel my pace get slower, I put on something like really upbeat, like something really fast, up tempo, and then you get faster, like you match the pace of the music.
Yeah.
So that's a really good tip. Like, if you don't want your pace to drop, just put on some like really high
Do you still
energy
get
music.
runner's high like after all of this? You do?
Yeah.
So is that like, what is that like after 10K, after 12K? Like, when, do you know when it comes, or is it like different every single time?
Different every time. That's the thing. I couldn't even tell you, is it 10K, is it this? It could be completely different.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes a minute into my run, I get a runner's high. Sometimes like 3 hours in, I get the runner's high. So I think it really depends. There's like a lot of factors. Pace as well, I think, has a lot to play. Like, I notice like the faster I go for like a longer period of time, the more high I feel. But then the crash is more as well.
Like, how's your stamina? Do you have to stop at any point and like do walking? Did you do any of that? Or are you so like in it now and your stamina is so high that you can maintain the entire?
Yeah, even with that first marathon, the one I told you about, the Marrakesh one, I didn't stop and walk at all. Just because if I stop, like in my head, like mentally I'll be like, oh, well, that's it. I can just stop and walk whenever. And it also takes you out of like that flow.
Okay.
I think running is a rhythm.
Yeah.
And like once you stop, you break that rhythm. It's so hard to get back into the rhythm. So no matter how hard it is, I always try and keep running. Even if my pace differs, if I get slower, faster, I always keep running. Otherwise, once you're out of that focus.
That is so interesting. I'm such a stop starter because I'm like, and then I stop and then I get my breath and then I start again.
That's so much harder for you. Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's
I just
why
have
you
to
don't
like
it.
yeah, so I probably had to just go slower
Yeah.
and try to maintain that slow pace
Exactly.
for longer.
Yeah. There's a lot now about zone 2 training and zone 2 running.
Okay, what is that?
So it's heart rate zones basically. So a lot of research has come out now to say that if you're training most of your runs at a slower pace, so in a zone 2 pace, which is like 60 to 70% of your max heart rate, you're going a lot slower, but you can go a lot longer. So you're building up your endurance. And then in doing so, you can build up your pace. So zone 2 is a really good place to start. Just training very, very slow, very, very easy. You should be able to talk, like you shouldn't feel out of breath. And just do a little bit longer of your zone 2 runs every day, every time you run. And then you'll get faster and you'll be able to go longer over time.
And do you ever get like, I don't know, like knee pains, like any of these like chronic, I don't know, runners, ankles? I don't know.
No, I do have an Achilles thing at the moment. So I haven't ever had problems with my knees. And I think that's to do with stride.
Okay.
So usually it's if you overstride, you get knee problems.
What does that mean?
So for instance, your foot lands further out than your knee.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
it's like your whole body has to move together.
As one.
Yeah.
So your center of gravity kind of stays in one place. So you want to land with your foot just under your hip. So luckily, I kind of naturally have that stride. But from the marathon, I have got a bit of a niggle in my Achilles. And it's really hard because I want to keep running. Like, you just
signed up to do a new one, right? A new marathon.
Just a half. I'm going to do a marathon again this year.
Yeah. Another, what, a full one?
Yeah.
Which one is that?
I don't know yet. I'm not sure.
Find it?
Yeah.
So how do you push yourself? Like, does this happen? You're kind of coming, maybe it's not towards the end, maybe it's like halfway through. Like, how do you push yourself if you're just in training and you don't have the excitement of like the entire actual race going on? Like, how do you push yourself in that last, I don't know, is it an hour? Is it 2 hours? What do you do?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It does really vary as well on the type of run you're doing. If you're doing a pace session or if you're doing a longer session, I actually have to think how I get through it. It's a lot of positive self-talk. That's what kind of what that, again, that goes back to what I love about running. It's like the mental strength, and it's just telling yourself, don't give up, keep pushing, you know you can do this. Also, it's understanding that your body wants to give up before, no, your mind wants to give up before your body is ready.
Okay.
So your mind will start telling you, oh, it hurts, stop, but your body can keep going for a lot longer. So it's just about almost like overriding your brain and just sending those signals yourself with your own positive self-talk and just saying, just keep going, you can keep doing this, you're strong. That's basically how I keep going, even if it's like, I don't know, a kilometer, 10 kilometers.
Oh my
It's
God.
just...
And then like, what do you do when you're in the actual race? Is it the same?
Yeah, so for me and for a lot of, like when I've looked at when elites start to fatigue as well, it's usually in the last 10K.
Okay.
So if you've kind of done your training and everything, you can usually kind of get 20 to 30K. I'm not going to say easily, but you're prepped, you know, you've been running a lot. You've run more than 20K usually for a marathon training plan. But yeah, it's in those last 10K that you know you're going to feel pain. And I did look at a lot of elites who actually have therapy to deal with the pain that they know they're going to encounter. And yeah, for me, I'm not having therapy, but I do prep myself. Like, you're going to be in pain. No matter how much you've prepped for this, you're going to be in pain, but you can do this, you can keep going. You've run a marathon before. And it's just that, it's mental games, basically. It's mind games from about kilometer 30 onwards.
What starts hurting first, usually?
It's different for everyone. For me, I get pain in my hip flexors. It's just fatigue as well. It's like just the constant movement. You just feel, you start to ache. So I feel ache in my hip flexors. I have had runs that have been like very hilly. So I did the Athens marathon and it was actually on the downhills. I felt like my ankles were just going to snap at one point. It's just like the impact. So yeah, for me, it's hip flexors, quads. It's so hard to describe the pain because it's like all encompassing as well. It's like sometimes you can't even pinpoint it. Like something will go and then it's just like your energy.
All the rest of you follows.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like drained as well. It's like just having to push your body forward when it's just fatigued.
Tell me about the toenail thing. I heard. What happens to the toenails?
I'm really lucky mine haven't come off this time. They did last year. It was because of wrong shoes, but it's very normal. It happens to every runner I know, like they don't have toenails basically. But yeah, it's just basically friction of the shoes. It's very hard to avoid. Yeah. And your toenails turn black.
Okay.
And they eventually pop off.
Okay.
So mine is still intact, luckily. I can wear
is this
sandals.
just like right after a run, or is this just because they're constantly running, they just never have toenails?
Yeah, so I think people who are constantly, like professional runners, for instance, they're just running so often that, yeah, it's probably always just gonna, as soon as it comes back, they do a race and then it goes
Comes
again.
back off.
Yeah. I had a friend, the one who got me into marathon training, she was running a lot at that time and she didn't have toenails for like 2 years.
Owie, but it doesn't hurt, right?
No, it doesn't hurt. I mean, it hurts at the time.
Yeah.
Or like just after the race. If it's been like a nasty friction, then it can hurt. But generally when they come off, they don't hurt. So like,
and do you need special shoes? Like you were saying that maybe it's because of the friction of that. Do you need special shoes for running? Like,
so everyone's foot shape is different. I think that's the thing. So someone might have the perfect shoe. So the shoes that I wear right now is a really good shoe for me. So like I said, I haven't lost the toenails. But everyone's foot shape is different. So if I were to tell someone else, oh, this is the best shoe, like you're not going to, like for them, they might, just because like the way our feet are, like the shape, the width, like the arch, everything is different. So I think it's really hard to find the perfect shoe. So you just need to find what works for you, basically.
So do you land like on your heel, or do you land on like the ball of your foot when you're running, or do you do like a mixture of both?
Yeah, this is interesting because I didn't have any running technique at all until I started this marathon training block, and then I started watching a lot. And generally people say, so the old way of teaching running was to do heel toe always, heel strike. But now people are like, everyone runs differently. Everyone's anatomy is different. So I've actually tried to play with what works for me. And I do kind of do a mixture of both. I do find that when I'm running slower, if I'm doing a zone 2 run, or if I'm just starting like a gentle, easy run, I tend to start off on the balls of my feet. And then as I increase the pace, I start to do heel toe a bit more. But I'm still kind of, I do run on the balls of my feet a little bit more, even if I try to actively land with my heels.
It's like one easier than the other?
One's just more instinctive than the other. Instinctively, I tend to land on the balls of my feet. And then to pick up the pace, I have to really think like, okay, now run like this.
Yeah.
And then I can get into the rhythm of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just like everyone has like an instinctual style of running.
Do you have like any ritual that you do after a long run? Like, I don't know, like self-care, or I don't know, like extra stretching besides the food part, trying to nourish your body? Do you do anything to celebrate? Like after you've run like a huge marathon?
I eat our favorite cake.
Yeah.
The chocolate hazelnut cake. That's after my long runs. I'm like, I want that cake.
Yeah.
But yeah, after running, I always have a protein shake with electrolytes. And I stretch always, because I've met so many runners who are so stiff and have injuries from not running. And obviously from our circus days, we're so used to like stretching and being flexible. I always have like a really long stretch after as soon as I come in from a run. So I'll stretch for like 20, 30 minutes and then I'll go and shower. So yeah.
Oh, so you've got like a really good routine there. Do you feel like any extra tightness just generally because you are running?
Yeah, not really. I have noticed where the tightness is in my body has changed slightly, but because I am just stretching so much, I really don't feel like I've lost much flexibility or mobility at all. It's just, I feel like my calves, for instance, that's where I really feel it, and I have to really extra stretch my calves. But everything else feels the same.
So do you think that, because you started running about 10 years ago when we first met each other, do you think that there's any difference between your running then, like physically, and like now, 10 years when you're a little bit older? Do you feel it in your body? Is that just a myth? Like what?
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I've been doing a lot of reading on this, because physically, yes, I do feel a difference. For instance, when I ran that first ever marathon, I just ran a marathon. And now if I hadn't trained for this marathon, mentally, I know I probably could have got through it, but I think it probably would have been even harder than it was in my 20s just because of the age. But I have been doing a lot of research, and usually people peak at endurance sports the older they get.
Oh.
And I have seen a lot of progress. So for instance, now after my training, I feel that if I raced me 10 years ago, I would win.
Okay.
Yeah. And I still feel like I've got so much room to grow and progress, which is like the nicest thing about endurance, because there's so many other sports you cap out at a certain age. But usually, like the older you get, the more progression you can make in endurance. You can get faster, you can run for longer. So I'm really excited for that.
And if you had to choose running or circus, which one would it be?
This is such a hard question. Oh, because they're so different as well, because circus is an art form as well. Running is easier to sustain, I think, because you just
can run anywhere. You don't need equipment.
Yeah, exactly. And you can put one, as long as you have two legs and you're healthy, like you can put one foot in front of the other. But with circus, there's so much like time, skill, strength involved that I think they're just so different to compare. But running is much easier to sustain, I think. But I love them both.
Yeah, I guess one is a creative output and one is a very much like a physical thing.
That's it. Yeah.
So like what's a tip that you would give to somebody who's starting out? I've been starting out for 10 years. I'm always asking you for advice. But what would you give to somebody who's just like a newbie and they want to start running?
Yeah. Firstly, run slow.
Okay.
Like I was saying to you, zone 2. Even if you don't know what zone 2 is, like call a friend or something when you go for a run. If you can speak to them easily, that's your zone 2 pace. So don't try and run too fast, because you're going to burn out.
It's more like a jog.
Yeah. And you're going to build endurance that way. When you build endurance, you're going to build pace just because you can go for longer anyway. And it's more enjoyable. If you're just like wearing yourself out and it's hard, it's not fun. You want it to be fun. I think the thing is with running, it needs to be enjoyable for you to get up every day and go out and do it. So that's my first tip, is to start slow. Second one is like have rest days. Like don't, when you start running, just think, okay, now I have to run every single day. It's a long journey and it's a slow build. So I would say run once a week, then run twice a week.
Okay.
Yeah, and then just gradually, it's like not, you have to be very patient. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Just running in general.
I like that. Yeah. And would you say, like, say somebody doesn't have an outside to run in, is there a huge difference between training stamina on the treadmill, between running on the road?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so much more boring. I haven't done a lot of treadmill running apart from in this marathon block because we're in India and the pollution was killing me at one point.
It was.
I ran a half marathon on the treadmill. And the thing is, you do have more aches and pains. I definitely felt my
on the road
ankles
or on the treadmill?
On the treadmill.
Oh.
Yeah, which is interesting. And also it was just so much harder mentally to get through, I think. But it's a great place to start. I think you can start anywhere.
Yeah.
And just, again, start slow, build it up, find a way to make it enjoyable. I mean, if you're on a treadmill, you can always watch things as well. You can always have music wherever you are. But yeah, the main difference I feel is just like being out in nature is part of the joy of running for me. And yeah, when you're on a treadmill, you don't have that.
Last question. Do you have like any recovery or wellness tips for somebody who's coming off of a run, or again, a beginner who doesn't really know how to recover their body properly?
Yeah. Stretch, definitely. Even, I would say, even just follow like a 10-minute stretch on YouTube. If you're not used to stretching, just start with someone guiding you through a stretch and hit the muscles that you're using in running. So like glutes, quads, calves, hamstrings, and do a bit of like ankle rollouts as well. So stretching is really important. Otherwise, you're going to get injured. If you feel any pains or niggles, stop, ice it, and then wait to feel better. Like, don't keep running because you will cause an injury. So many people make that mistake. And yeah, rest, enjoy rest, eat carbs. That's the best thing about running, honestly. It's like, yes,
eat whatever you want.
Yeah, you need carbs before you go for the run, especially a long run. Like, you need those glycogen stores just to keep going.
Yeah.
And then obviously when you finish, you can
Do you have
restart.
any idea of like calories that are used in a long run like that?
Yeah, I mean, I could even get my phone, but off the top of my head, I do kind of know. In the marathons, that's 42 kilometers, I burnt 2,400 calories.
Oh my God.
On some of the training runs that were more like 20 to 30K, it's still around, it's like 1,500 calories. So that's a lot of calories. That's a lot of glycogen.
What was your
being
victory meal
used.
in London when you did that marathon?
Do you know, I wasn't even hungry.
No?
Isn't that strange? It's just the adrenaline.
Yeah.
And I was also eating on the run. So I consumed about 600 to 700 calories while running. And then I was just so buzzed. I had the runner's high. I had adrenaline that my friend had to force me to eat. She was like, come, we're going to eat. I had pizza and I had cupcakes.
Oh.
And it was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, that was so much fun. That was such that's really useful information, all of that.
Good.
You can actually follow her. She's got an Instagram page that she's just started, and you can like track all her runs. So it's very inspiring. I find it very inspiring. So it's step by step with Lowri.
Yeah.
I'll put a little tag there for you. Cheers. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.